जो जेम्स कैमरून का स्पेशल विजुअल एडवाइज़र है, उसने हमारी फिल्म पे काम किया, उसने इसको सर्टिफिकेट दिया है,
इसने अवतार पे काम किया।
अब हम उससे बड़ा आदमी कोई जानते नहीं इस क्षेत्र में जो इस टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में जानता है.
I'm Michael Jordan. Stop it. Get some help.
These defenses. I think that's what it's all about. And all great art, music, great writing. It's only when Shaheen got completely vulnerable, she could write like this. And you don't have answers. And the ability to listen. I think the most important thing what Shaheen said was about her friend, Namita, that she would just call up and she would cry. And then after half an hour, she said, "Are you done with crying?" The very fact that somebody across the line listening to you as you cry.
So you don't really want answers.
You don't, there are no answers. There are pretenders who claim to have answers.
Papa.
And they institutionalize those answers. And they impose those answers with the butt end of a gun. Or make it a religion. There are no answers.
I warned you this is going to happen.
Mankind doesn't have answers. You bullshit to your children. You don't follow the things that you pretend to preach to them. They see it. I have never pretended to my children that I was in possession of the virtues that people flaunt. That's why they feel that they are not misfits with me. I am a misfit at 71. I can't expect a young little girl to fit into this sick world where brutality is legitimized.
Papa.
So nothing is wrong with you, darling. Nothing is wrong with you. The psychiatrist wants to fit you into this brutal world. He is more sick.
Stop it. Get some help.
Sushant Singh Rajput's girlfriend, Riya Chakravarti, has once again been summoned by the Enforcement Directorate for questioning. Riya has been told to appear before the probe agency tomorrow. She was questioned by the ED officials for about 9 hours on Friday. According to the Enforcement Directorate sources, Riya is not cooperating with the probe.
Hello and welcome to yet another live stream. Today I was actually planning to, give a gap, but then I thought that there's an interesting angle. As yesterday we talked about how CBI and ED are not being talked about much in this campaign. First of all, I hope all of you are doing well, and welcome once again. And for those who would be joining in later, this session will turn out to be one of the most important ones, and not gloating or blabbering, but the fact that this session would hold a lot of information. So spare me in advance if you feel that there's a lot of download, which would be the case moving further. So why are we talking about ED specifically? Because what I always feel is कि जब भी SSR मर्डर केस की बात होती है तो हमेशा NCB और CBI की तरफ चीज़ें ज़्यादा जाती हैं, and if you see, only the 10 or 20% of the attention goes towards ED. So that is one of the biggest reasons why I thought of going ahead and dedicatedly do a session on ED itself. It won't be a longer one. I'll try to keep it as short as possible. So कहाँ से हुआ सब चालू? Post SSR's demise, SSR's family, including the sisters and the father, went ahead and lodged a complaint and FIR stating that 15 crore रुपए, almost 15 से 17 crore रुपए सुशांत के अकाउंट से are taken away, siphoned off, and कुछ पता नहीं है उसका कि कहाँ गए हैं. ठीक है. From there everything started. तब तक NCB भी नहीं थी. The very first agency was ED to step into this case, if we all know. Okay, so let me go ahead and begin with one of the articles here. एक second. कि अगर सुशांत के अकाउंट में 15 से 17 करोड़ रुपए थे, the biggest question, तो वो गए किधर? Where did the money all of a sudden go, like gayab in the air? Let me just share the screen here. एक second. Now, as we all know exactly हुआ क्या था, so let me go ahead and read it out all loud for you. The Enforcement Directorate has filed a money laundering case in connection with the death of actor Sushant Singh Rajput. The case was filed on the basis of a first information report filed by the Bihar Police, says officials. Now, it was the Bihar Police which went ahead and filed in the case. It were the parents, though. Obviously, the family did the case through Bihar Police. Now, Sushant Singh's father had alleged that there were unexplained transfers from his son's bank account involving actor Riya Chakravarti and others. The later actor's father has accused Chakravarti, a budding TV and film actress, of having befriended his son in May 2019 with the intention of furthering her own career. Okay. So, it all starts. एक second, ना? Okay, ED has passed to trace monies and confiscate. Okay, so it is basically going ahead and explaining that what is the hierarchy structure that would be working on this particular case. Now, let me just do one thing. I'll stop sharing. Okay. तो ये न्यूज़ आती है कि 15 से 17 करोड़ रुपए जो सुशांत सिंह राजपूत के अकाउंट में थे वो हो जाते हैं गायब. Now, what role does Kwan has to play in this all? Did anyone ever think? Because as far as we know, Riya Chakravarti, her parents, Bunty Sajde, Rajat Mewati, Karan Kundra, all of them have been questioned by ED. All of them have been questioned. And अगर हमें लास्ट में याद हो तो सरनायक्स का नंबर आने की बात हो रही थी, but for some odd reason ED got shut and it did not proceed further. But prior to getting shut, ED had made really ED had made really big allegations. Not allegations, but statements, I would say. Being a central agency, let's respect that. And they had made a statement. They said that, they would be going ahead and taking, strict action against Riya Chakravarti and family because there were links of the money being siphoned by these people itself. Now, in the wake of all this, there were, if you also know, ki in sabke gadgets, be it mobile devices, electronic gadgets of Riya Chakravarti and all, were taken by the ED. Correct. Now, this particular article that I'm seeing right now, not sharing yet on the screen, it has a lot of details wherein, okay, yeah. So it basically states that all the devices from the people, the employees who were staying at the house of Sushant, were taken by ED in order to go ahead and check what kind of transactions were being done. And later on, what we found out is that, despite of the fact that we were not able to find the main source of the transaction, uh, what comes out to be is that Riya Chakravarti had been using Sushant's account for personal expenses, like going ahead and spending across money, uh, for पूजा के नाम पे 3 लाख 4 लाख रुपए 1 लाख रुपए 2 लाख रुपए ऐसे करके transactions. Sushant's bank statement revealed Riya Chakravarti made huge transactions from Sushant's account. Now, things have heated up in Sushant Singh Rajput's case, and how, in a shocking breakthrough, it has been revealed that massive transactions were made from Sushant's bank account for Riya Chakravarti and her brother Shovik. Now, if we go on to check the statements, these are the pictures of the statements as well, which they have already. Okay. In the video, Republic TV has revealed that huge expenses were made from Sushant's account by Riya, Shovik, and the family for things like flight tickets, hotel stay, tuition fees, hair, makeup, shopping, and more. तो मतलब एक तरह से पूरी की पूरी लाइफ जी जा रही थी सुशांत सिंह राजपूत के अकाउंट पे. The bank statement showed that balance of the account dropped from rupees 4 crores 62 lakhs in November 2019 to just little over rupees 1 crore in February 2020. November से February, it's like 3 months. 3 months में almost 3 crores. 1 crore a month as an average. Dude, okay. With a balance of rupees over 4 crores, there we go. Okay, they have repeated it. So from flight tickets worth 81,000 for Shovik Chakravarti, Riya's hair, makeup, shopping, parlor expense worth over 1 lakh to her personal expense. Sushant's bank statements revealed shocking details. Now, if you guys remember one thing, these are the pictures, that shows the transaction. If you guys remember one thing, Sushant also got in touch with. एक second, let me stop sharing. Okay. Sushant also got in touch with his bank's manager in order to go ahead and ensure कि जो OTP वाला system है, and he wanted to basically change the nominee, right, for his account. So it is for sure that he was aware कि उसके his money is being misused. हाँ, 15 करोड़ रुपए होते हैं गायब, and in the same timeline, रिया के अकाउंट में कौन से पैसे आते हैं? Let me share the link. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this simply reads that Kwan paid Riya lakhs, one tranche post Sushant death, ED probing transactions. Okay, there were 2 large transactions under ED scanner. Okay. According to sources, the Enforcement Directorate believes that the account in question had around rupees 3,000 in it at one point before the transactions, and 2 big tranches were transferred into the account. रिया के बैंक अकाउंट में 3,000 रुपए, ठीक है, कोई डाउट नहीं है, हो सकता है, पॉसिबल है. The first transfer was in April 2020 and the other one was in July after Sushant Singh Rajput had died. So the first payment comes in April 2020. यहाँ पे सोचने वाली चीज ये है कि जो पहला ट्रांसफर होता है, राइट, वो अप्रैल के मंथ में होता है. तो इज इट दैट क्वान वाज गोइंग अहेड एंड पेइंग रिया अप टू प्ले हर पार्ट इन सुशांत्स लाइफ द वे शी वाज डूइंग? अगेन जस्ट अ क्वेश्चन, क्योंकि सेकंड पार्ट जो है अमाउंट का, विच वाज 1,36,802, विच अगर हम दोनों अमाउंट को करें तो अप्रोक्सीमेटली अराउंड 5 lakhs इज व्हाट दे गेट. ओके, हम आएंगे, क्वान पे आएंगे, और हम इस पे भी आएंगे कि ये क्यों हो रहा है. दैट वुड बी द एंड पीपल. वो एक बहुत बड़ा कनेक्शन है जो इन सारी चीज़ों को मिलाएगा. नाउ दिस कम्स आफ्टर रिपब्लिक मीडिया नेटवर्क network had accessed exclusive details of transactions between CBI accused number 1 Riya Chakravarti and talent management agency Kwan. As ED investigates the financial link, questions arise as to why was Kwan making multiple transactions to Riya. Kwan bosses are under the scanner of the Narcotics Control Bureau as their names emerged in the drug chats where there were talks of alleged drug supply. Now, as we also know, कि it was ED जिनकी तरफ से एनसीबी को सबसे पहले इंफॉर्मेशन गई थी कि देयर इज अ ड्रग एंगल हियर. Shruti Modi ki, I guess Jaya Saha and Riya Chakravarti ka chats were the first one which went to NCB, which indicated towards the fact कि drugs इसमें है. So we guys should not be forgetting that it was the ED angle that popped up first, right? Now the first transaction of 3,96,825 was done on March 12th, as we have already known, and the second one was done in the month of July. Uske baad, there were more payments. So the third payment was done through NEFT on May 2nd, which again is just before June, and the amount was 1,60,651. The fourth payment one happened in the same month, and the amount credited was 1,72,126. Again, if you look at the pattern, these are pretty odd and confusing numbers. Okay. And this is one of the tactics used to go ahead and ensure that जो पैसा ब्लैक से वाइट में साइफन होता है या फिर इस टाइप से होते हैं तो उनके ट्रांजैक्शंस के नंबर्स कुछ इस तरीके से होते हैं. इफ यू गो अहेड एंड रिसर्च इट ऑन गूगल यू वुड गेट टू नो मोर. The fifth transaction was through a check on June 4th, and amount credited was 1,59,300. The other 5 money transactions, which was for so and so amount, were done either through RTGS or NEFT on June 25th, July 4th, July 6th, and October 4th, and November 18th as well. There are two possibilities that I gauge out of whatever we just read. I'm sorry if I was too fast, but let me go ahead and share my understanding of what I got with this. सुशांत के अकाउंट से पैसे गायब होते हैं, which happens somewhere in the month of maybe between February to June, क्योंकि सुशांत was definitely not in a condition to be keeping a track on his accounts all time, right? जब when he would have realized, then he would have thought of going ahead and taking that step. अब हमें ये दिख रहा है कि सुशांत के अकाउंट से पैसे गए जो कहाँ गए नहीं पता, बट वो गए कहाँ हैं? कॉर्नरस्टोन. क्वेश्चनिंग के लिए किन किन को बुलाया गया? कॉर्नरस्टोन. ठीक है, कॉर्नरस्टोन, बंटी सजदे. नाउ कॉर्नरस्टोन एंड क्वान के बीच में क्या रिलेशन है? वील कम टू दैट. I mean, ED was very tough when they were trying to go against Riya and family. They were like making statements like, we would be going ahead and taking strict actions, and all of a sudden they going shut certainly indicates towards the fact that something has happened, some kind of collusion has happened, and that's the reason we are not seeing ED talking about this transaction at all. We know Bunty says they was was called to be questioned. We know Rajat Mewati was called to be questioned, and if you guys remember one thing, रजत मेवाती जो सीए था एसएसआर का, जब उसकी क्वेश्चनिंग हो रही थी तब राज कुंद्रा वाज आल्सो अ पार्ट ऑफ दैट क्वेश्चनिंग. राज कुंद्रा वाज आल्सो कॉल्ड. सो व्हाई वाज अ राज कुंद्रा एंगल देयर जब सुशांत को ढूंढ रही थी? द बिगेस्ट क्वेश्चन. राज कुंद्रा को वहां पे बुलाने का पॉइंट क्या था? और अगर राज कुंद्रा है तो क्या राज कुंद्रा का जो प्लेटफॉर्म अभी सबके सामने आया था, was that being used to turn the black money into white through any of the other means? And हो सकता है कि सुशांत का पैसा भी वहां से घुमा हो, तभी maybe तभी राज कुंद्रा was also called for questioning, and all of a sudden ED goes shut. एक और कैरेक्टर है, उस पे भी आएंगे. तो what I feel is that Riya somewhere or the other was working for Kwan. And I won't deny from accepting that the payments that she has received are a proof that she is going ahead and playing according to what she has been told. Now, who are these guys who are behind everything? यहाँ पे एक और पॉइंट आ जाता है कि जो एड्रेस रजिस्टर्ड है तीनों कंपनीज के लिए वो सुशांत का नहीं है, या इट्स द सेम उल्वे फ्लैट शोभा, तो वो सुशांत का नहीं है, इट बिलोंग्स टू रिया चक्रवर्ती फादर। अब जहाँ पे इन लोग इक्वालिटी की बात कर रहे हैं कि रिया जो इक्वालिटी की बात कर रही थी कि वी पेड आवर हाफ, तो व्हाई द एड्रेस ऑफ रिया चक्रवर्ती इटसेल्फ, इट्स अब जब यहाँ पे इन्होंने भी बोल दिया, ईडी ने भी बोल दिया दे वर डिसअपॉइंटेड, जब इनके हाथ में डॉक्यूमेंट्स लगे, जब इनके पास डॉक्यूमेंट्स आए, then what did they do? Let's go ahead and find out that. जब ईडी के पास डॉक्यूमेंट्स आ गए तब इन्होंने, I'll share this, एक रेड मारी, and this raid was an important raid जो आज की डेट में हम सब मिस आउट कर देते हैं, but let's talk about it today. Sushant Singh Rajput case, ED raids 4 locations linked to Rabta director Dinesh Vijan. दिनेश विजान के 4 लोकेशंस पे ईडी ने रेड करी। पहली चीज कि रेड करी तो क्यों करी, आपके पास ऐसा क्या था जिस वजह से यू हैड टू गो अहेड एंड रेड 4 डिफरेंट लोकेशंस, ठीक है। नाउ द फैक्ट इज दैट यू नेवर केम आउट स्टेटिंग दैट व्हाई आर यू रेडिंग द प्लेस। लेट्स गो अहेड एंड फाइंड आउट व्हाट दिस पर्टिकुलर Ahmedabad Mirror article has to say. This is Dinesh Vijan, the director of Rabta. Now, okay, there we go. The Enforcement Directorate on Wednesday carried out searches at 4 locations linked to filmmaker Dinesh Vijan in connection with its probe into the money laundering angle in Sushant Singh Rajput death case. An ED source said currently the agency was carrying out searches in 4 locations linked to Vijan. The source refused to share further details. However, IANS tried to contact Vijan and reply from him was awaited. Okay, he debuted with the untitled carousel. Okay. So ED also registered the case. Okay, this was already done. So, why we are talking about Dinesh Vijan abhi? Because of the fact that this person has certainly, this person knows a lot. He also has a connection, a direct connect with Kunal Jani, and if you guys know how Kunal Jani is connected to Riya Chakravarti, ठीक है, ये तो एक पहले कनेक्शन का एक स्ट्रिंग की बात कर रहा हूँ, आगे जाके इतने स्ट्रिंग्स बनेंगे when we move further with whatever is happening these days in terms of उस टाइम से लेकर आज तक जितने तरीके से हमें घुमाया गया है, जिन 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 कनेक्शंस का यूज हुआ है, जो जो लोग कनेक्टेड हैं, हु आर बीइंग पेड दीज डेज, हु आर बीइंग गिवन वर्क दीज डेज आउट ऑफ द ब्लू, दे आर सक्सेसफुल, एंड वी विल सर्टेनली गो अहेड एंड थिंक कि ये 17 करोड़ रुपए, मतलब इन 17 करोड़ रुपयों ने ऐसा क्या किया है, या फिर इनके हाथ में ऐसी कौन सी जादू की छड़ी है कि ये पैसे ईडी भी नहीं ढूंढ पाए। Now, one thing to think about is that ED tried its best to also reach out to the international government, a different country altogether, in order to go ahead and get the information कि ये 17 करोड़, it seems to be the fact कि ये पैसे वहां गए हैं, but होता क्या है, let's see. उसका रिवर्ट आज तक नहीं आया है, so the this article that I'm about to share with you. In Sushant Singh Rajput case, ED sends letter rogatory to Hungary on rupees 17,000 crore transaction. Okay. In a major development in Sushant Singh Rajput case, the Enforcement Directorate is looking into an alleged rupees 17 crore transaction. The investigating agency has sent a letter to the Hungary government seeking help in investigating the details of the alleged suspicious missing payment. The alleged transaction is with regards to the late actor's remuneration for the 27 film Rabta. And that is the reason Dinesh Vijan's home was also raided. Now, we proceed further. अब हमें ये पता है कि ED also reached out to Hungary. So there could be a possibility कि Hungary का route could have been used there. Okay. So keeping that in mind, if we see, if you talk about the rogatory letter, Hungary जो ये letter गया है, usually as per law, if you see कि अगर as per the law, इनके पास ना किसी भी कंट्री के पास जो टाइमलाइन होता है इट इज यूजुअली अराउंड 12 months कि 12 महीने में यूजुअली द कंट्री रिस्पॉन्ड्स but it has been over 12 months since ED raised this particular request to Hungary and we have either ED has received a response and not telling us yet or they have not received a response. So this is something which again raises a lot of questions कि बॉस चल क्या रहा है. ठीक है ना. इससे पहले कि हम आगे बढ़े एक लास्ट चीज पे हम बात करेंगे. अभी तक हमने जितनी जितनी चीजों के बारे में बात करी है we know, right? Now the last thing that we would be covering here would actually make a lot of sense and then we would be able to join it. मैंने तभी इतना scattered way में ये information share किया आप लोगों के साथ because of the fact कि ये जो last वाली photos, the article that I would want to share with you, इसके बारे में एक time पे मैंने tweet भी किया था, but this is something which I would want to share with you guys. So just give me a moment. एक second हाँ. This is important for us to go through and understand कि ED का एंगल किससे किसको कहाँ तक जोड़ रहा है. And there we go. Okay. एक second people यार. So sorry. Okay. ये बहुत important point है which I am about to share, so I would request you guys to थोड़ा सा ध्यान देने पे इसके लिए. There are a few pictures that I would be sharing. Okay. And then you can actually try and get ki what exactly is happening. Okay. And it is very much related to the ownership of this organization, ownership of Inside Ventures. It is important. Ownership of Quan. It is important. And ownership of Cornerstone. And why we are here talking about Cornerstone is because of the fact कि हमें मालूम है कि कॉर्नरस्टोन के फाउंडर बंटी सजदे को बुलाया गया था क्वेश्चनिंग के लिए. अब लोग कह रहे हैं एविडेंस की बात. लोग कह रहे हैं इतनी स्कैटर्ड इंफॉर्मेशन है, ईडी के हाथ ये लगा, ईडी के हाथ वो लगा, रिया चक्रवर्ती के ट्रांजैक्शंस लगे. When you try to get into it one by one, it gets loaded up with information. It certainly gets loaded up with a lot of information, which we want to avoid. So what do we want to do? We want to go ahead and ensure कि हमारे पास जो information है हम उसको easy way में कैसे देखें कि things get more clear for us. Okay. Now there is a particular article जिसके बारे में मैंने last year in the month of September एक tweet भी किया था and I'll share that article with you. It is a very in-depth structurized testimony of what could and could not be whatever is happening around in this ED case. So this is something which we would read. I want everyone to pay attention to small details because that is important. Let's proceed. Next second. I'll read everything out for you guys. Okay. It says Bunty says the CEO of Cornerstone was questioned by the Federal Investigative Agency on 3rd of September as part of their ongoing investigation into the death of Bollywood actor Sushant Singh Rajput, who was found dead hanging from the ceiling fan in his apartment in Bandra, Mumbai on 14th of June. 6 days prior to Mr. Rajput's death, his former manager Disha Salyan had fallen to her death from a high-rise building in Mumbai on the 8th of June, and the circumstances leading to her death were not clear. Okay, now it just talks about what happened in this particular case. Okay. Now we also know the fact that it was Shruti Modi's lawyer who talked about Imtiaz Khatri. So it simply reads that according to a report in Z News, Shruti Modi's lawyers had claimed that Mr. Rajput had been taking narcotics and they were supplied to him by Imtiaz Khatri. So Mr. Rajput had been taking narcotics. I would simply try to go ahead and discard that sentence because I don't, go by it. Now, Imtiaz is associated with the Khatri family who are into construction business and have been accused of embezzlement of funds in the past as well. Now, if you guys don't remember, let me refresh your memory. Let me take you down the memory lane. Khatri family was big time caught in the trap of irrigation scam. Now, this irrigation scam that happened, he was very well supported by Mr. Pawar. Yahan pe likha hai. So read this. Okay, it states that various irrigation project contracts that were handed over to them between 1999 to 2009 by government departments controlled by Ajit Pawar, leader of the National Congress Party, and the current Deputy Chief Minister of the state of Maharashtra, Mr. Pawar, was formerly looking after the irrigation, rural development, and water resources departments. So, इन्होंने help करा था खत्री फैमिली को टू गेट आउट ऑफ दैट इरिगेशन स्कैम जो बहुत बहुत ज़्यादा न्यूज़ में था एक समय पे. Okay, now I want you guys to focus on this article. Take a second. Yep. Okay. Bunty says they established corner store in 2008 and the company website describes him as the ruler of 7 kingdoms. Now, some of Bunty's high-profile clients include Virat Kohli, the Indian cricket team captain, and Sania Mirza, leading Indian tennis player. Now, there's one more thing to think upon, that Miss Mirza joined Cornerstone in June 2020 and the exact date being 14th June 2020. She joined Cornerstone and she was formerly being managed by Quan Talent Management Agency. Now, let's proceed further. Bunty's sister Seema Sajde Khan is married to actor and director Sohail Khan, youngest brother of superstar Salman Khan, who owns a talent management company called Uniword Being Talent, established in February 2018, a few months after Mr. Khan severed ties with Matrix Talent Agency, who had been managing the actor since 2008. So it is said that Salman Khan had a UBT, Uniword Talent Management Company. He's the owner of that. Now, in November 2018, Salman Khan's UBT forged a partnership with Big Bang Media Ventures, the parent company of Quan Talent Management, which had then been battling sexual harassment allegations on its co-founder of CEO Anirban Das. So Anirban Das, who was the co-founder of Quan Talent Agency at that point in time, was going through a #MeToo case. Could be a possibility that it was all a setup to fix Anirban Das into a MeToo case so that he steps down and then Uniword Being Talent and Big Bang Media, had an opening or an opportunity there to simply take over और कोलैबोरेट विद बिग बैंग मीडिया, क्योंकि जी आपका तो एक जो को फाउंडर है उसके ऊपर तो मीटू लग गया, नाम खराब हो जाएगा, आप मेरी यूबीटी के साथ इसको कोलैबोरेट कर लो. जस्ट अ स्पेकुलेशन, okay, because he was sacked from the company in October and his share of the company was taken over by his other partners Madhu Mantena and Vijay Subramanyam, who are now running Quan. So Quan jo hai, Quan, it does not only belong to Madhu Mantena and Vijay Subramanyam, it also has a merger with UBT, it says, which is Salman Khan's company, gained access to Quan's talent. Okay. Now, it just simply says that they work in a joint kind of an infrastructure wherein Quan and UBT goes hand by hand. They are a merged company. Okay, so यहाँ पे भी यही बताया, exactly the same thing, it's just repeated, it's the extended part. Okay. Now, some of Quan high-profile clients include Bollywood actress Deepika Padukone and Indian cricketer Shikhar Dhawan, who signed a 3-year contract with Quan in August 2018. Jaya Saha, working for Quan, is the talent manager of actress Riya Chakravarti. Jaya previously used to report to Anirban Das at Quan. Connection dekh rahe ho? जया साहा वही है जो रिया को कहती है कि सुशांत के कॉफी में ड्रॉप्स डालो, 3-4 ड्रॉप डालो एंड गिव इट हाफ एन आवर टू किक इन. एंड जया साहा वही है जो अनिर्बन दास को भी अनिर्बन दास को रिपोर्ट करती थी. एंड एक सेकेंड, ओके, हाँ, जो अनिर्बन दास को रिपोर्ट करती थी, हो सकता है कि जया साहा could have been used to frame अनिर्बन दास as well, क्योंकि ये मतलब जस्ट लुकिंग एट द पैटर्न, हो सकता है, कुड बी इस पे आते हैं. ओके, लेट्स प्रोसीड फर्दर. नाउ it simply states that another co-founder of Kwan, Madhu Mantena, is also involved in the production and distribution of films across Hindi, Telugu, and blah blah blah. So it's just going ahead and explaining कि सबकी history, ठीक है, कौन कैसे कहाँ से related. अब आते हैं एक और information पे. Now there we go. Another co-founder of Kwan, Madhu Mantena, is also involved in the production and distribution of films from 2015 to late 2018. After which the couple got separated and got formally divorced in March 2019. Now, Madhu was also the co-founder of Phantom Films that he established in 2011 along with filmmakers Anurag Kashyap, Vikramaditya Motwani, and Vikas Behel. The company was discovered in October following allegations of sexual misconduct against Vikas Behel. Dissolved. Okay. So the Phantom Films, if you remember, there was again a Me Too, jahan pe Madhu Mantena was also a part of Phantom Films. And that particular person, they had to dissolve the entire organization because of whatever had happened due to all the allegations that were there. Now, it is not clear whether actor Sushant Singh Rajput had an account with Kwan or Cornerstone, or both, as the talent managers Sushant had worked with have been associated with both Kwan and Cornerstone. So, यहाँ पे ये बताया है कि अभी तक ये क्लियर नहीं हो पाया है कि whether SSR was being handled by Kwan or by Cornerstone, because Disha Salyan, prior to joining Cornerstone, had worked for Kwan. Jaya Saha works for Kwan, and Shruti Modi works for Cornerstone. But both are said to have handled Sushant's work. तो आप ये बोलो कि Shruti Modi, being a part of Cornerstone, is handling Sushant, and also Jaya Saha, being a part of Kwan, is handling Sushant. How can that be possible? कि दो talent management agencies एक साथ एक talent को handle कर रहे हो. तो again, could be a possibility कि पैसे siphon करने के तरीके, and that's why could be a possibility कि Kwan was one of the primary mastermind behind whatever has happened with Sushant in terms of him being sidelined in Bollywood because of those blind articles being written against him in Bollywood. Okay. Now, apart from films, Sushant Singh Rajput was also involved with a technology company called Insai Ventures. यहाँ पे आती है थोड़ी सी एक इंटरेस्टिंग इंफॉर्मेशन जो आपको और हिलाएगी. मैंने आपको बताया था Insai Ventures is an organization, is the production house wherein Sushant was dreaming कि he would do Chanda Mama Dur ke, keeping Insai Ventures as the production house. Okay. Now, what it says is, apart from, okay, all right, that he started in May 28 along with entrepreneur Varun Mathur. Varun Mathur was his partner. Dhyan dena. Varun Mathur was his partner in Insai Ventures and had also previously worked as the director for Salman Khan's Uniword Being Talent until April 2018. और यहाँ लिखा है कि it was reported that Sushant had walked out of a space film titled Chanda Mama Dur Ke during its pre-production stage in order to make his own space film through Insai Ventures. Now, if you read between the line, यहाँ पे simply ये बताता है कि Sushant left that pre-production of Chanda Mama Dur Ke because he wanted to do that movie using Insai Ventures as the production house. And Insai Ventures production house में उसका partner कौन था? Insai Ventures production house में उसका partner था Varun Mathur. And Varun Mathur also was a director at Uniword Being Talented, जो है ड्राइवर की कंपनी. So my question here stands that could it be a possibility that Varun Mathur was used to simply go ahead and acquire this particular space of being a director in Inside Ventures with Sushant to ensure that all the things are controlled, because he was already working as a director, and a director, let me tell you people, happens to be an integral part of an organization. So if he was a director in UBT, the owner of UBT and the director would have had really close connections. Again, I might be reaching, but it again leads the same set of people, the driver's brother, Bunty Sajde, jo driver ka brother-in-law, everyone. So he was there as a director. In addition to Inside Ventures, Sushant had also invested in technology company called Vivid Rage Reality and healthcare company called the Front World Foundation in collaboration with Shobik and Riya, जिसके बारे में हम बात कर चुके हैं. अब let me go ahead and ask you people कि क्या तुम्हें एक एक स्ट्रक्चर समझ आया? सुशांत के 15-17 करोड़ तो छोड़ो, ठीक है, वो चलो गायब होते हैं. क्वान रिया को क्यों पे करता है? जब से रिया सुशांत की लाइफ में है, तब से क्वान रिया को पेमेंट्स कर रहा है इन बिट्स एंड पीसेस. व्हाई? ठीक है, क्वान रिया को पेमेंट करता है. कॉर्नरस्टोन ईडी कॉर्नरस्टोन के सीईओ फाउंडर जो भी है, जो बंटी सिसदे है, उन्हें बुलाया जाता है क्वेश्चनिंग के लिए. सुशांत सिंह राजपूत का जो सीए था रजत मेवाती, उसको क्वेश्चनिंग के लिए बुलाया जाता है, जिस क्वेश्चनिंग के अंदर राज कुंद्रा वाज आल्सो अ पार्ट. ही वाज आल्सो कॉल्ड इन फॉर क्वेश्चनिंग. बाद में ये पता चलता है कि क्वान was also managing Sushant Singh and Cornerstone was also managing Sushant Singh. मतलब ड्राइवर और बंटी सजदे दोनों मैनेज कर रहे थे. और जो सुशांत के साथ इनसाइड वेंचर्स में जो बंदा था, जो वन ऑफ हिज कंपनीज में जो पार्टनर था, ही वाज एक्चुअली एम्प्लॉयड प्रीवियसली एज अ डायरेक्टर बाय ड्राइवर इन यूबीटी, जो अभी क्वान है. तो ही वाज आल्सो अ पार्ट ऑफ क्वान. So, don't you see a pattern wherein Sushant was completely surrounded by people from Kwan and Cornerstone? अब अगर आप इसको एक स्ट्रक्चर बना के सोचो, तो नाउ यू सी कि किस किस का हाथ पीछे है, कौन कौन सा खान है, कौन कौन सा सजदे है. ड्रग एंगल तो साइड में रखो, जो पैसे हैं, पैसे कैसे और कहां घूमे, और इन सारे लोगों के एक्शंस देख लो जब से ये क्वेश्चनिंग्स चल रही है. बी इट एनी खान्स, इनमें से कोई आया क्या आगे बोलने के लिए सुशांत के लिए? नहीं आया ना, बिकॉज ही वॉज ऑलरेडी सराउंडेड बाय दीज पीपल. एंड नाउ आई कैन से, आफ्टर लुकिंग एट द ट्रांजैक्शंस ऑफ रिया चक्रवर्ती, एक और चीज मेरे दिमाग में ऐड हो गई है कि इट वॉज क्वान who was paying Riya Chakravarti this money as a pocket money to stay in Sushant's life and do whatever she was doing. तो ड्रग्स और मर्डर वो तो एक एंगल है अलग अलग, बट ईडी मनी इज वन ऑफ द इंपॉर्टेंट एंगल्स एज वेल. यूबीटी, बंटी सजदे, कॉर्नरस्टोन, ड्राइवर, क्वान, वरुण माथुर, कुशल जवेरी was also an employee in Inside Ventures, और वो आज भी Inside Ventures की लिस्ट में दिखता है. एंड कुशल जवेरी was the person जिसको दीपेश सावंत ने मैसेज किया था 14th की दोपहर को, एंड उसका रिवर्ट आता है कि इस भाई सेफ या इस भाई ओके. तो ये सारे के सारे अब आप कनेक्ट कर लो, एंड देन यू कनेक्ट सुवेद लोहिया with all of these people. आपको सुवेद लोहिया बंटी सजदे के भी क्लोज मिलेगा, आपको सुवेद लोहिया ड्राइवर के भी क्लोज मिलेगा, आपको सुवेद लोहिया ड्राइवर के छोटे भाई वुल्वरिन के भी क्लोज मिलेगा, आपको सुवेद लोहिया इम्तियाज निसार खत्री के भी क्लोज मिलेगा. गो टू हिज इंस्टाग्राम एंड यू वुड सी एवरीथिंग दैट आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट राइट नाउ. एंड रिया चक्रवर्ती किसकी गाड़ी में जाती है ईडी की क्वेश्चनिंग के टाइम? सुवेद लोहिया के. तो was she being tutored by these people? Was she being, obviously she was being tutored and being sent for questioning then. But it is an angle कि शुरू के इस सेशन के शुरू के 40-45 minutes the information was scattered. But how many of you would agree with the fact when you go through the entire structure जो हमने last के 15 minute में discuss किया, that explains everything and the people connected with it? I hope it does. Suved Loya is a hotelier, and if we also remember, Gaurav Arya was also called in for questioning from ED. And that's how the Gaurav Arya and Riya Chakravarti's drug chats also came out and was sent over to NCB. So, we have कि ED के केस में क्या हुआ है. ठीक है, we can actually try and make our minds towards that कि this could be one of the probabilities. I'm not saying कि यही हुआ है. There could be something else as well. There could be a completely total different spin-off कि, you know, maybe some other politicians or someone else was there. But here we really need to ensure कि ED पे एक वो प्रेशर बनाया जाए, because ED has been shut for quite a long time. ED ने तो तब एक्शन नहीं लिया है यार जब वो प्रताप सरनायक को बैक टू बैक समन्स भेज रही थी, and he was simply going ahead and skipping all the summons. और वो आज तक स्किप कर रहा है. He's not gone for questioning. सो अगर हम एनसीबी का वेट करते हैं, अगर हम सीबीआई का वेट करते हैं, तो हम ईडी का भी वेट करते हैं. एंड ईडी नीड्स टू कम आउट विद एन एक्सप्लेनेशन ऑफ वेयर दोस 15 crores went. Why were the IP address of a particular organization which was collaborated with Sushant, Riya and Shovik gets changed 17 times? What role has Varun Mathur to play in Sushant's life, being a partner with Inside Ventures and prior to that actually being a director for Driver? It could be my point of view too, absolutely. It could be anything. So again, I would emphasize on one thing once again, that we need to go ahead and stay open for all kind of possibilities, and that's what we would try to go ahead and do. और रही बात ये सुवेद लोहिया की, तो let me check. Yep, today suddenly many Sonia Sena members tested COVID positive. अरविंद केजरीवाल को भी हो गया. इनफैक्ट महाराष्ट्र में भी लोगों को हो रहा है. कल ही मैंने किसी एक फिगर का पढ़ा था कि उसको कोविड पॉजिटिव हो गया है. सो अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर यू नो कमिंग अंडर द इफेक्ट ऑफ कोविड. रही बात अगर आप करें, ईडी का मेन रोल है एसएसआर केस में. एग्जैक्टली ब्रजेश, एंड आई एग्री. ईडी इज द वन who can crack open everything, because they certainly might have a lot of things. Now if you want to see who is Suved Lohiya, ये रहे Suved Lohiya on the left, सुशांत सिंह राजपूत in the middle, और ये हमारे इम्तियाज निसार खत्री. तो ये सारा कनेक्शन आप एक बार जाके लास्ट के 15 मिनट whenever you get time फिर से देखना. Try to understand the hierarchy of connections that I had explained and try to think कि why could this be important? Because the people who had spewed the seed of poison in Sushant's life are all connected to this ED angle. Cornerstone, क्वान. सबसे पहले तो मुझे ये बताओ, क्या क्वान अलाउ करेगा किसी भी टैलेंट को कि हम तुम्हें मैनेज कर रहे हैं तो कॉर्नरस्टोन भी तुम्हें मैनेज करे? या क्या कॉर्नरस्टोन सेम चीज करेगा? नहीं करेगा. एंड वन मोर थिंग, रिया चक्रवर्ती, was she by any means was she employed by Kwan because of the kind of money that she was getting? And this is one of the biggest reasons why driver का नाम उठता है बीच में कई बार. This is one of the biggest reasons why you know like ड्राइवर के भाई का नाम उठता है, इन सब का नाम उठता है. क्यों उठता है? क्योंकि ये कहीं ना कहीं से तो कनेक्टेड है ना बॉस. चलो अब इसी बात पे एक और फोटो दिखाते हैं. आखिरी फोटो, हाँ, इसके बाद हम फोटो और नहीं दिखाएंगे, इसके बाद हम कोई और डाउनलोड नहीं देंगे, क्योंकि ये इन्फॉर्मेशन काफ़ी है टू अंडरस्टैंड कि व्हाट्स हैपनिंग. अगर आप लोगों को और इसमें डीप रिसर्च करना है तो प्लीज़ डू दिस पर्टिकुलर रिसर्च, जिस पे वी हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट द फैक्ट कि हाउ सुशांत, मतलब ये लोग कैसे एक दूसरे से कनेक्टेड रहे हैं, वरुण माथुर का क्या रोल रहा है, रजत मेवाती की क्वेश्चनिंग में क्या हुआ था. एंड देयर वी गो. क्या रिया क्वान के लिए काम करती थी? देख के तो ऐसा ही कुछ लग रहा है. शी इज सिटिंग एंड रिप्रेजेंटिंग क्वान, टॉकिंग अबाउट क्वान, बिकॉज शी वॉज बीइंग हैंडल्ड बाय कॉर्नरस्टोन ना. तो why would she have any relation with Kwan at all? Why was money transferred to her account by Kwan at all? क्वान के पैसे जो अप्रूव होते हैं, जो पेमेंट्स जाती है, अप्रूव तो उसका फाउंडर ही करता है ना. अप्रूव तो ड्राइवर ने ही किया होगा ना. तो ड्राइवर इसको पैसे क्यों दे रहा है क्वान के नाम पे? आप लोगों को वो पिक्चर याद है इस चुड़ैल की ड्राइवर की बहन के साथ? जो ड्राइवर की बहन है, जिसकी अभी रिसेंटली शादी हुई थी, उसके साथ पिक्चर. तो वेयर आर दीज कनेक्शंस लीडिंग अस? That's my point in terms of how the money was being played. And now I can tell you the way Sushant was being controlled, Kwan was behind it. Because Kwan has been paying Riya Chakravarti since the month of November in installments, and it had gone till the month of November next year. पूरे एक साल तक. क्यों इतने बड़े बड़े लोग, सतीश माने शिंदे जैसा लॉयर इसके सपोर्ट में आया? क्यों इतने बड़े बड़े लोग रिया चक्रवर्ती जैसी चुड़ैल को सपोर्ट कर रहे थे मीडिया में, आउट इन दी ओपन? क्योंकि उनको जीना है ना. क्योंकि उनको पता है कि अगर उन लोग नहीं करेंगे तो उनका भी हश्र, मतलब दे वुड बी द अदर विवेक ओबेरॉयज ऑफ द इंडस्ट्री. आई होप यू गाइस आर गेटिंग राइट. तो was Riya employed by Kwan? Again, an intriguing question. I think she was. And she was very well incentivized by them as well, as per the transactions. So this is all about ED that you can know for now. There are a lot more information जो हम miss कर रहे हैं. We would certainly be going ahead and covering it in the later. This picture could be on June 2017. रवि, मैं तो मना ही नहीं कर रहा. ये पिक्चर 2015 की भी हो. She was a part of Kwan, and that is enough for me to go ahead and establish the fact कि वरुण माथुर भी क्वान का पार्ट था, रिया चक्रवर्ती भी क्वान का पार्ट थी. एट द एंड ऑफ द डे दिशा सालियान भी क्वान का पार्ट थी, जया साहा भी क्वान का पार्ट थी. सिर्फ एक इंसान था जो क्वान का पार्ट नहीं था, विच वॉज श्रुति मोदी, जिसका पैर टूटा हुआ था और वो इस सीन में बीच में नहीं थी. बट श्रुति मोदी वॉज इन्वॉल्व इन अदर थिंग्स लाइक ड्रग्स एंड व्हाट नॉट. And Shruti's lawyer came out in the open. Pratik Saraogi was the name, I guess. He simply stated that Imtiaz Nisar Khatri is the one from whom the drugs were sourced. So, driver's role is very prominent in this case. Because Kwan, अगर वो बोलता है ना, या फिर कोई बोलता है कि इट्स जस्ट अ रूमर दैट क्वान का ओनर ड्राइवर है, देन आज आई गेस आफ्टर चेकिंग कि यूबीटी क्या है, और यूबीटी ने बिग बैंग मीडिया वेंचर्स के साथ मिलके कैसे क्वान को टेक ओवर किया है, गो अहेड एंड चेक इट. और वो टेक ओवर करने का टैक्टिक भी वाज यूजिंग मी टू बोथ द टाइम्स. मधु मंटेना के साथ भी मीटू वाला सीन हुआ, एंड अनिर्बन दास के साथ भी मीटू वाला सीन हुआ. Why? So isn't it a pattern? For me it is. So once again people, this is an information जो आपको सेशन ऐसे ही एक बार देख के शायद अगर समझ नहीं आए, आखिरी के 15 मिनट फिर से देख लेना, आपको समझ आ जाएगा, because that has the entire structurization of how this thing has worked out. And if still you would have any kind of questions, you can join the Telegram channel. It's the link is in the description. You can reach out to me on Twitter. It's there. Instagram, it's there. Please start talking more about ED. Start talking more about the house which was bought by Ria's father in Ulve. 58 lakh rupees flat, because वो flat could be one of the keys, क्योंकि वो flat का address is registered with all the companies which were formed between Shovik, Ria and Sushant. We also need to go ahead and raise questions on why was Ria being paid in installments, because nowhere it was mentioned that she was employed with Kwan. तो अगर वो 2017 में क्वान के साथ थी तो अभी जाके उसको पैसे क्यों मिल रहे हैं? और अगर सुशांत सिंह राजपूत was being handled by Cornerstone, which was by Shruti Modi, then why was she being handled by Jaya Saha at the same time, which was Kwan? Why did Kwan had an upper hand in terms of whatever is going on, in terms of money, in terms of everything else? What has Dinesh Vijan got to do with it? How is Dinesh Vijan related to Kunal Jani? Kunal Jani or Riya Chakravarti का क्या connection है? We all know. So now you can connect the circle and you can see how they are trying to work this out. And one more point. Raj Kundra was called in this particular questioning session of Rajat Mewati. Why was Raj Kundra involved? ऐसा कौन सा transaction है जो राज कुंद्रा को इन्वॉल्व करता है? एंड उसके जस्ट थोड़े टाइम बाद हमने देखा राज कुंद्रा के साथ क्या हुआ. So once again, people, please emphasize on ED, emphasize on murder, and emphasize on the money angle. ड्रग्स का काम CBI कर रही है. हमने ड्रग्स को 1.5 साल ऑलरेडी अच्छा खासा प्रमोट कर दिया है. Let's get on with the money. And let's get on with the murders. And driver's role is really prominent because he runs Kwan. That's about it today, people. And I would really like to thank you for giving your time. But until then, please, मैं हर वीडियो में बोलता हूँ, do leave your comment, but आते बहुत गिने चुने हैं. So please do leave your comment in terms of the fact that if you guys would have any kind of feedback for me to imply to, if you guys would want to raise any kind of points which I might have missed, I would be picking it up in the next session. आप सबके points would be talked about. We would discuss everything. We would discuss all the possible angles. Until and unless we come to a conclusion that, okay, this can be taken as a probability, and then we would have an extra probability to look at. And accordingly, we can emphasize on, putting pressure on ED, because that is important in a positive way. Now it's time for ED and CBI to open their mouths. So let's keep on doing that and let the facts do the talking. So thank you, everyone.